In terms of the agenda, this is what we'll be looking at today. We'll start by taking a look at the reports in Xero today. So both the old and the new reports. From here, we'll summarize the great features that you may be enjoying in some of our older reports, and then we'll show you how you can achieve the same result in the new reports. I'll then show you some extra features that are available with our new reports, and then finally, some next steps. We previously announced that the old reports would be retired on the 31st of July 2023. So we'll cover what this means for you and what you can actually do if you're still using the old reports. Now, we've just got a couple of polls here, just a little bit of fun before we get stuck in. You should see the first poll launch on your screen any moment now. And don't worry, it's completely anonymous. But I'm keen to understand, which reports do you use? Do you use the old reports only? Do you use the new reports only? Do you use a combination of both? Or do you just not know the difference? Okay, so I'll end that poll now. And it looks like it's a perfect 50-50 split. So 50% of you use a combination of both the old and the new reports, and 50% of you don't know the difference. And by the end of this presentation, you will know the difference. I'll launch a second poll right now as well. And I'm keen to understand, it's multiple choice, which reports do you use the most? Select as many as you would like. Profit and loss, the balance sheets, account transactions, age payables, age receivables. Or if there's something else, then let us know in the Q&A box which report that is. So I'll end that poll. And as expected, the most commonly used report includes the profit and loss and balance sheet, but all of the others are heavily used as well. So thanks for your suggestions, and we'll actually take a look at what reports are currently available to you. And I'll just go through to the reports dashboard. It's important to note that there are currently 2 versions of many reports available. So if I actually take a look at this profit and loss report, if I click this profit and loss report link, it will take me through to the new version by default. But if you click the overflow arrow, you will see that you have an older version of this report. So the question then becomes, why do we have old reports and new reports? Xero developed new reports as a result of the feedback we received. We were told that the old reports didn't have the flexibility and customization options that you needed to tailor information to your business or practice. As a result, we focused on upgrading technology behind our reports, so that way we can deliver new features faster than before, and also give you more flexibility around customization. You can now rename headers, you can drag and drop accounts, you can add formulas, you can add extra columns, page breaks, and so much more. Now, in July, we did announce that the old reports will no longer be available from the end of July this year. If you haven't yet seen this announcement, I will be posting a link to the blog post for more information on this. So you will find that link. And if you've already published the old reports, then don't worry, you will still have read-only access to these old reports. So let's take a look and talk about the main features that you liked in our old reports. And I'll actually go through how you can achieve this in new reporting. First up, in old reports, it was really easy to select different formats for the profit and loss. So at the top of the old profit and loss report, you could see common formats such as current and the 3 previous months. The helpful green and red arrow icons showed favorable and unfavorable variances. You also liked how easy it was to compare dates with the same period in previous years. It was super easy to show totals and year-to-date columns on reports such as the profit and loss. And it was quick and simple to add a comment to provide information about a particular figure in a report. The good news is that you can still do all of these things with the new reports. So let's jump into Xero and actually take a look, shall we? And we'll start by going through to the profit and loss report, and we can actually select from a number of common formats using the panel on the left. So I'll just zoom in for you a bit. Hopefully you can see those panels. Now, the budget variance, this compares your actual figures to your budgeted figures, and it shows a variance amount and a percentage. As before, the green and red arrow icons indicate favorable or unfavorable variances. The current and previous 3 months is great for a monthly comparison. So you will see the current and previous 3 months. The current financial year by month will show how the business is performing each month of the financial year. So the organization year end for this business is the 31st of December, which is why we have the first 4 months of this financial year listed here. We have many others as well, such as the current financial year by month, actual and budget. We have the month to date comparison, and this shows how your business is performing so far this month, and it compares it with the same period in the past 3 months. We have a year-to-date comparison. And if you use tracking, then you'll see the option to compare the tracking category options. And since this business operates in different regions, I can click Compare Region to compare each location for the year-to-date. If I want to return to Xero standard format, I can do that in the top left-hand corner by clicking the standard format. Now, I can use the minimize panel to hide that. So comparing dates is really easy as well. You can use this drop-down menu to choose from a number of common date ranges. Alternatively, you can select your own date if you wish, and you can even type in a date if you like. For example, if I type up 12 and then tab, that will hit the 12th day of this month. If I do 4.5, that will give me the 4th of May this year. I can use slashes as well, /. So if I do 1/2/22 and then tab, that will give the 1st of February 2022. As an example, in this example, I want to compare let's say, the Christmas sales period with the previous 2 years. And this is because we offer a Christmas discount on sales between the 16th of December and the 4th of January. So what I'll do is I'll do 16/12/22. I'll do 4/Jan/23. And I'll compare it to the previous 2 periods. Now, if I do compare it to the previous two periods, this will actually give me the previous 19 days. So these are both 19-day periods before this period. But that's not what I want to do here. I want to compare it with the Christmas sales period of the past 2 years. So what I can do is, under this option, instead, I'll just compare for the previous 2 years instead. And that way, I actually have the latest Christmas sales period compared with the previous 2 Christmas sales periods. So it's an exact comparison. Really easy to do. Now let's go ahead and start again by adding total and year-to-date columns, which is something that you liked in the old reports. I'll revert back to Xero's standard profit and loss report. So I'll do this month. And I'll compare it with the previous 2 months. And to add a total or year-to-date column, I can just simply click this More link in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And this will show me a few different options on what I might want to include in this report. This includes a total column as well as a year-to-date column. Some people like the percentage of trading income column because it shows you which costs are high relative to your sales. But in this case, I'll just leave it with total and year-to-date and then update the report. Easy as that. I've been able to very quickly get that total and year-to-date columns in the reports. But how about adding comments to provide extra information on a particular report? Well, you can actually add an annotation right next to a figure. So I need to make sure that under Insert Content, I have Enable Add Notes selected. Once that's done, next to every single figure, you'll find a link to add a note. I'll go ahead and select that, and I'll just say sales. I'll just say sales are looking lower this month. Consider using online payments. Or something along those lines. So you can very easily add some commentary to your reports if you need to. And on top of that as well, it will be hyperlinked with the note listed here as well. So those are just a few of the features of the new reports that match the most popular features of the old reports. But the new reports allow you to do much, much more. So we're going to take a look at some of the new features that are unique to the new reports. As I said earlier, the main reason that Xero created the new reports was because of your feedback. We were told that you wanted more flexibility around reporting and more ability to tailor the reports in the way that you need. Some of the extra features available in new reports include more options for grouping accounts. It includes the ability to add page breaks, formulas, and columns, the ability to reorder and sort columns, add schedules, rename reports, and even visual charts on many of our new common formats, and we'll be adding even more over time. With that in mind, let's take a look at some of these customization features live in action. So first and foremost, I'm going to go back to the profit and loss standard format. So let me just compare it for this month. I'll hide the total and year-to-date columns, and I'm going to compare it with the previous month. I'll also go ahead and rename this report. So I'm going to call it Profit and Loss Monthly Variance. From here, I'm actually going to select the Edit Layout link in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen to customize the report some more. And before we actually go ahead and customize this report, let's preview what the PDF looks like in the top right-hand corner of the screen. So let's go ahead and preview this. Okay, so that's what it looks like at the moment. And I might actually remove that note that I added before. So let's go ahead and customize this. If your report spills over 2 pages, then maybe you might want to add a page break. So what I will do is, in the top of the screen, you will find the ability to add a page break. I'll select it there and I'll set it so that it sits below gross other income. So I'll move it so that it sits below other income, and that way my expenses are appearing on a different section of the report. Now, let's say I also want to add a formula, and I want to know what our gross profit is as a percentage of our income. In this case, towards the top, I can also insert either a group or a formula as a row. I'm going to insert formula. I'll move it towards the top to sit below gross profit. And towards the right, I'll add the formula, which will be gross profit over trading income multiplied by 100. And I'll give it a name, which will be gross profit percentage. Let's also go ahead and group some expenses and show you how easy it is to group. Now, it looks like I've got a motor vehicle expenses account, and I've got a travel international and travel national account. I actually want to group these together. So in this case, I can just hold Command on a Mac or Control on the computer. And I'll just select those 3. And then towards the far right, I'll be able to group the selection. I'll give it a total name, which will be travel and motor. And I can choose whether or not I want it to show a breakdown with a subtotal, or perhaps even as a summarized line item, which I'll actually want to do in this situation. I'll move travel and motor to sit below telephone and internet. And one thing to note is that whenever you add or edit groups, just make sure that you check the formulas are still correct. From here, I actually want to go ahead and add a column to analyze my data further. So in the top of the screen, you'll see that I have the ability to add all sorts of different columns, such as new date ranges, budgets, formulas, notes, percentages, variances, tracking options, which in this case is the region for the business. And in this case, I just want to see a variance between the months. So I'll add a variance column there. My first column will be this month, so April. And the second column for the variance will be March. I can choose to show it as a percentage of the second column if I want. And let's go ahead and preview the changes, shall we? So I'll export to PDF again and see what this looks like now. Okay, it's looking great. We've got our income and gross profit percentages appearing on one screen and our expenses appearing on the other page. Additionally, we have our variances. We also have those favorable and unfavorable red/green arrow icons. Now, I'm going to go ahead and update this layout. And what you will notice is when I go back to the screen, you will notice that there are a few subheaders, such as total trading income and total cost of sales. Now, if I don't actually want these subtotals, it's very easy to remove. I'll actually remove the total trading income subtotal. So I'll click Edit Layout. And then I can simply click into anything I want to delete, so a subtotal, and then select the Hide Total link towards the top, and then update the layout. And that's going to be hidden from the exported PDF as well. Back on the screen, this report is showing exactly how I want to. You will notice I've got a compact view link towards the bottom of the screen as well. So I can either choose to have this selected as I do now, or I can deselect it if I want to show more white space. Xero will keep the same font size, but it will reduce the spacing between the lines. And again, this is a feature in the new reports. I'm going to actually go ahead and export this to PDF. And again, there we have our PDF report. Now, if this is a report that I'm going to reuse again a lot in the future, then towards the bottom right, you can actually choose to save it as a custom report. And from here, I'll be able to save this as profit and loss, monthly variance. And if I actually refresh the screen, you will be able to see that it is now appearing as a common format ready for me to use for easy access. So it's going to keep my most 5 recently saved customer reports in this panel here. And that will just make it easy for me to rerun the same settings again in the future. Now, if there is a report that you like to use a lot in the reports dashboard, then definitely take the time to save it as a favorite. So if I select the star icon next to the executive summary, you'll see that it now appears directly in the favorites section of the dashboard, ready for me to access. So we've actually taken a look at the profit and loss report. And the way you customize the profit and loss report is similar to our other financial style reports, such as the balance sheet and the cash summary report. But transactional style reports, such as the accounts transactions, payable, receivable reports, operate differently. And transactional style reports are arranged in a table format. So let's take a look at the account transactions report and take a look at how you can customize it. This particular report will actually show all transactions for a period against specific accounts you want to show. In this case, I'm going to run it for the sales account because I want to get a list of all my sales for the period. I'll choose a date range, in which case I'll leave it as this month. And I can choose what columns I want to show. I don't really want a debit or credit column, but I want to keep date, description, gross amount, reference. I might remove these ones. And if I want to show the other side of the journal entry, I can select related account. That's really helpful for any accountants that we've got joining us today. And I'm going to choose to group it by contact. So with some very basic customization, I have a full list of all my sales transactions for the period grouped according to my contact. Now I can very easily reorder columns if I want to. So maybe I might want to reorder some of these columns around. And there are all sorts of other filters that I can choose to apply as well if I wish to do that. Furthermore, in our new reports, we have also released a number of visual charts to some common formats. So as an example, if I search for the top customers common format, you will be able to see that I have a list of my top 10 customers, both listed here and as a visual chart. So at a glance, this is going to give me my most valuable customers and maybe people I might want to drive repeat sales for. Maybe I just want to show a chart only. I can do the same for a number of other common formats as well. An example is the income by contact common format. And with the new version, again, has varying different types of charts available, including a bar chart, a tree map, a pie chart, and so forth. And we will be adding more visual charts to even more reports over time as well. Now, just a few other next steps. First, try out the new reports. If you haven't started using the new reports already, we recommend that you do so. As you've just seen, they're very easy to use and they're more flexible than the new reports. On top of that as well, we've made heaps of other new releases as well, including new foreign currency functionality into many of our new reports. As you know, on the in July 2023, or at the end, we'll retire the old reports. Remember, you'll still have read-only access to your published reports. So if you have any old reports in draft, then these will disappear after the 31st of July. So if you want to keep them, then make sure you finalize and publish them. And also, if you're using a custom layout in an old report, such as the old profit and loss, the old balance sheet, or the old budget variance reports, then you can actually use our layout importer tool to recreate those formats very quickly. In fact, let me show you the layout importer tool live in action. So I'm going to flip back to Xero and I'm going to access the old profit and loss report. This is an old version we have listed here. If you see under layout options, you'll see that I have some other common formats that were created in some old layouts that were created in these old reports. If I want to bring across these, it's very easy. All I need to do is select the link that says bring across my standard and saved layouts to the new reports. I'll click that. And what this will help me do is it will help me bring across the layouts that I've created in the old reports over to the new ones without having to recreate them again. So I can give it a name. And these old layouts will be brought across with the same groupings, the same orderings at just a few clicks, essentially. So I'll find that old customized report listed here as well. So this is just going to save you time. It means that if you've created any layouts in the past, you won't have to recreate them from scratch again. That actually brings us to the end of the session. I hope that helped you see the benefits of the old reports. Now, I do like to keep my sessions engaging. I want to know what you thought about this webinar and if you found it helpful. So If you could take a moment just to fill in a short survey, it only takes about a minute. That would be much appreciated. I would really, really appreciate it if you took the time to do that. If you do have any questions, please put them in the Q&A box, and I'll do my best to answer any questions that you may have. So I'll just hang around for a little bit, but if you don't have any questions, feel free to drop off, and we look forward to seeing you at another webinar again at some stage in the future. So I'll just go ahead and check that Q&A box. So one of the questions was, will we release new graphs to more reports? The answer is yes, we will be releasing more visuals and more charts to more reports over time. But again, that's only with the new versions of the reports. Okay, it looks like we don't have any other questions, but again, I would like to thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions in the future, please raise a case with our support team. But in the meantime, take care, and we'll see you at another webinar in the future. Bye, everyone. Take care.